And it's happening right out in front of us. And it's, and they realize that they can do this because, as Adolf Hitler said, the bigger the lie, the easier it is to pull it off. And this is right in front of us. The Federal Reserve Board has the Treasury, orders the Treasury to print up, quote, money. And the Treasury takes paper and ink and prints this stuff up. And then the Fed pays the Treasury about 2.5 or 3 cents on the dollar. And then they lend it to the Federal Reserve regional banks, and then they lend it to the other banks. And now they're not even doing that because they're starting to monetize the debt, which we'll go into in a little bit. But these banks get money from the Fed, and then they can lend it out at a 10-to-1 level. So let's say that they get $10 billion so that they then can lend out $100 or $90 billion. And then when they get that some of that money back.
Start over on that.
Okay. So let's say that a bank gets $100 billion from the Federal Reserve. And then they start lending that out at a 9-to-1 level. So it's $900 billion that they can lend out that's on their books. But then they get the money back and they put that in their, quote, reserves, and then they can lend that out again. So their book value is not $100 billion, it's not $900 billion, it's 72 times the original amount that they have in. And this all starts with nothing. Paper and ink, and then they get the interest from the industries, from the small businesses, from the auto dealers, from the people cutting lawns, from you and me, that comes back. And it is money out of thin air. And the multiplication factors on this are so monstrous. And the multiplication factors used to be much smaller. It was still wrong then, but then they upped it and upped it and upped it and upped it. And now, for every dollar that comes into a private bank, they can multiply, if they do their work properly, by 72 times. This is true insanity, considering that there is nothing there to begin with.